Are you looking for a build that blinds, has crowd control, deals area of effect damage, shreds everything in its path, grants you and your teammates an overshield with a fast-paced, actual fun playstyle? Look no further. Matt Goes Buck here, and today we're going to talk about MOTHKEEPE'S wraps and a beast of a sidearm to pair with it. This season's artifact meta is no doubt making solar shine with mods that grant radiance on command and synergize crazy good with solar builds and solar weapons. There's a few artifact mods that I feel are not being given enough love, and we're going to pair those with this build. What build am I talking about? I'm talking about Strand Hunter with Moth Arms and the Final Warning Exotic Sidearm. Let's do a quick overview of our exotics, starting with the exotic arms, MOTHKEEPE'S Wraps, which transforms your grenade into a cage of loyal moths that release on impact and fly towards the nearest target or ally. If they reach a target, they detonate in a blinding explosion. If they reach an ally, the moths grant you or your ally a void overshield. In short, throw a grenade, hive moths fly around. If they find an enemy, they deal arc explosion damage while blinding the enemy, and if they find you or an ally, they grant a void overshield. We will be pairing these arms with the exotic sidearm Final Warning. Final Warning recently started to get some love with the recent nerf to Quicksilver Storm, and people beginning to realize that there are two incredibly cracked artifact mods for Strand this season. Final Warning's exotic perk is All at Once. Holding down the trigger marks targets within range and loads multiple bullets which fire in a burst with increased stability on trigger release. Hitting a marked target with a fully charged burst will unravel them. It also has a perk, Pick Your Poison, which deals increased body shot damage on hipfire, and hipfire shots will track to your marked targets. Or you can ADS mark targets to deal increased precision damage to them. This weapon pairs perfectly with the artifact mods I keep talking about, so let's go over them. They are Unraveling Orbs. Picking up an Orb of Power grants Strand Weapons Unraveling rounds, and Horde Shuttle. Damaging unraveled targets with a weapon has a chance to spawn a Threadling. And Dragon's Bite. Breaking a combatant's shield with a Strand weapon has a chance to suspend that enemy. You can also toss Anti-Barrier Sidearm in there as well to make Final Warning stun anti-barrier champs, and shoot through Hive Knight shields, taking bubbles, etc. Now that we've gone over our exotics and the must-use artifact perks, let's get into the build. Starting with the armor mods on your helmet, double Ashes to Assets and Harmonic Siphon to create orbs with Final Warning, since it is a Strand weapon and you are on Strand. Arms will be Firepower. Moths that get the kill will create an orb. Grenade Kickstart so that you get grenade energy back when you throw a moth, and Fastball so that you can launch those moths around. Chest is melee damage resistance if you have an aggressive playstyle, and elemental resistances matching enemies you are fighting. Legs Recuperation, picking up an orb will give you some healing, and Double Innervation, picking up an orb will give you grenade energy. The key here is to spam the crap out of these moths. And lastly, Cloak Reaper, any weapon kill after dodging will generate an Orb of Power. Bomber, dodge to gain grenade energy, and Powerful Attraction, dodging will pick up all orbs that are nearby. Energy weapon and heavy weapon are entirely preference, as you will be shooting Final Warning a lot, and we're not running any weapon surge mods. I personally am a big fan of the classic God Roll crafted Forbearance or a Volt Shot Indebted Kindness with this build because it just means even more ad clear. For heavy weapon, I would recommend a heavy grenade launcher with Envious Assassin and Bait and Switch. Heavy GLs are in an amazing DPS spot right now. Stat goals for this build will be, as always for PvE, 100 Resilience and 100 Discipline are both a must. The other stats truly do not matter as much, but as a hunter I would prioritize mobility next to make the most of Reaper, Bomber, and Powerful Attraction because this just means more moths. Moving on to the subclass setup, starting with abilities, I am using Gambler's Dodge so that dodging near enemies brings back our Sever Spike, but you could also use Marksman's Dodge here, it's really preference. Triple Jump, always in PvE, we only have one Strand melee option, and Grapple Hook for grenade as it has the shortest cooldown time and that will apply to your moths. Aspects will be Widow Silk, you gain an extra grenade charge. Yes, this stacks with the fact that MOTHKEEPE'S wraps give you 2 grenade charges and you will have 3 grenade charges. And the second aspect will be Whirling Maelstrom. Destroying a Tangle will spawn an auto-seeking Beyblade of Death that shreds everything in its path. For the fragments and get ready for synergy, Thread of Ascent, activating your grenade ability, reloads your equipped weapon. Shoot weapons, Throw Moth, which will either blind enemies or give you and teammates an overshield, and it will also reload your weapon. Thread of Warding, picking up an Orb of Power grants you Woven Mail, and we have a lot of ways to make orbs. Thread of Transmutation, well, you have Woven Mail, which is pretty much always weapon final blows make a tangle. Shoot the tangle or pick it up and throw it to activate your Beyblade. Make sure your teammates don't steal your tangle. And you out there, you know who you are. Stop taking the person with an actual Strand build's tangles, okay? You're doing more harm than good. And lastly, Threat of Generation, dealing damage generates grenade energy. If you like this video, be sure to drop a heart, subscribe, and turn those notifications on. And yes, I put a dim link in the comments. See you next time.